Good afternoon, Eric family. It is good to see you today. I trust that you have signed up for the celebration service that's coming up this Sunday. It's going to be a good time together of celebrating what God has done and what we anticipate Him doing. But if you're from our church family and you're watching this video, you know that there's some mixed emotions this week with dealing with death and loss and other things. It makes it a little bit troubling and difficult sometimes to celebrate because there's not a lot of answers to what goes on in this life. We know that this is not how it's supposed to be and we have difficulties, but it kind of leaves us in a weird place sometimes. So I wanted to share with you an encouragement today from Psalm 27. It was something I was reading recently. And Psalm 27 is a psalm of David. We think maybe he wrote it, although we don't know that for sure, but we believe he did. And it's an interesting psalm because it begins, as we read this psalm, he begins by asking God, and he's speaking against fear. He's asking God so that he doesn't be afraid because he is beset by problems. He's got enemies, he has opposition. Life is not necessarily going the way he thought it would. And so he begins by saying, God, I need to not be afraid in the midst of all this. But then the psalm takes a bit of a turn because he says, I've got all these people that are opposing me. Life is not going well. So you know what, God? The one thing that I want is you. And so he says it a couple different ways. He says, one thing I ask and one thing I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord and gaze on the beauty of the Lord. In other words, he's like, you know what? With all this going on, the one thing I need, the thing that will change everything, is if I can just see you, God, and watch you and connect with you face to face. In fact, a little bit later, he says, my heart says of you, seek his face. Your face, Lord, I will seek. Don't hide your face from me. And you get the sense to this entire psalm that David is crying out and saying, look, in the midst of all that's going on, God, I need a connection with you. I need to see you face to face. There's something very intimate about face-to-face interactions, especially among people. When we look someone in the eye and say something meaningful, and we do that face to face, there's something about it that's very true and real. It's where we express our deepest feelings. It's where some of the most powerful emotions come. And that's what David is looking for here with God. But really, it was the end of the psalm that caught my attention. Because as he gets through all this, and again, wraps it back around to, hey, I've got problems, I've got people that are opposing me. And then he says this, I remain confident of this, that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's interesting. In the midst of all the problems, all the difficulties, all the things that are going on, all the problems he's facing, he says, I'm confident that in this life, in the now, I will see the goodness of God. I don't have to wait for some future time in heaven to see God's goodness because he's expressing it today, even in the midst of all that's going on. And then he closes with this verse. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Not be strong and take heart and go do something. Not be strong and take heart and go conquer mountains. Not be strong and take heart and make sure you can get something done. He says, be strong, take heart, and wait. Wait. Now, when he says wait, he can't be talking about doing nothing because nothing would ever happen. But I think he's talking about priorities, about what comes first. And in the midst of all the difficulties and all the goodness and all the ups and downs of life, he's saying, you know what I need? If I want to not be fearful, if I want to not be worried, if I want to walk through this life with confidence, then I need to wait. I need to wait until I can see God face to face and experience his goodness today. So, whatever you're facing, whatever is going on in your life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's just the middle ground of the ordinariness of life, my encouragement to you, and if you find this as difficult as I do, it's a challenge, is to take time to simply wait on God and to seek to see his face. I trust you'll have a great rest of the week. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday. As always, send me notes, react, respond to whatever God is doing in your life. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you later.